Girls and lesbians don't even watch the WNBA. That's how horrible it is. Like, it's not a good product. As a business, it's not a good product. When the NBA, the actual NBA, has to pay millions upon millions upon millions just to keep you afloat, and you're still losing money, but yet you guys are complaining that you're not getting as much money as NBA stars. Nobody likes your product. So like if Hershey made a candy bar that every person who ate it got hives and diarrhea, but then Hershey's got mad at the market because they wouldn't buy more Hershey's. That's what women sound like. You know what I mean? Like, like come on, man. Like it's not always about equality and sexism. Because if you go based on just equality, there would be a lot of women's sports not existing. Just like basketball, they were upset because, oh my God, March Madness, it's all about the men's sport. Nobody includes women's basketball for March Madness. And I'm like, you goddamn right, because nobody wants to watch. So like it's just, I know this sounds harsh and I know this sounds misogynistic. And there's a nicer way I could say it.
Yeah,
But
basically, what you're saying is they should lower the rim a foot so women can dunk, and it's a lot more entertaining. That's what you're saying.
or no, well that too. But I'm also saying like understand, like if you were just real about the situation, like you guys don't bring, just look at it as a business. You guys don't bring in money. So you can't expect to have everything the men's side has. Because NBA men's basketball is so global and so big and generates so much money. So you can't compare the two. Because my thing is, okay, women, there's more women on the planet than men. So why aren't you guys buying these female jerseys? Why aren't you buying their shoes? Why aren't you writing to Nike and saying, "Hey, Sue Bird, she should get some Air Maxes too"? Like, there's so many things that you guys could do to make the situation better, but you're not. So what do? Hey, men, come fix our problem because we have a shitty product. Like, you see what I mean? Like, you can't say we don't need men, but if the NBA took their money away and said go survive on your own, there would be no WNBA. That shit would shut down yesterday, right? Same thing, like when you go down all the other sports, it's the same. So now they're complaining like, oh, the women's weight room isn't sufficient. It's not equal to the men's. How much money do you guys bring in? Football brings in how much money to a university? Basketball brings in how much to a university? So, like, for me, I was a college wrestler. College wrestling is the first sport to get cut because of Title IX. Title IX is a balancing thing. So if you have, like, let's say you have 8 men's sports and 6 women's sports, then they got to cut 2 sports, and it's usually wrestling and then something else. Or they'll cut men's wrestling and add a female. Like, it's got to balance out, which is ridiculous. And wrestling is always underfunded. Our programs have lost the most programs, and men and women both wrestle on the same teams. So it's like, okay, you never hear wrestlers really complain about it. They just fucking generate money and build a new program. So this is the mentality I'm coming from, just so you know. So when I hear female basketball players bitching about stuff they have, I'm like, well, we don't even have, a designated wrestling room half the time. We don't have our own locker room. We barely have our own weights. Like there's so much we don't get. So it's like they're coming from a position of privilege and complaining about the privilege. It's like, hey, this guy makes 1 million. I only make 900,000. This is bullshit. Like, oh, hold on, hold on. There's homeless people. Like, it's the fine print, and it's one of those things where I'm like, build what you want. How many all-female comedy clubs are there? You would know better than I would.
Uh, I don't think there's any.
And why not?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Uh,
Why aren't there?
because the market would not support 24/7 all female comedy club.
I mean, are you saying women aren't funny?
I
Is
am
that what you're
not.
saying?
I am not. I'm not
But
saying.
what I'm saying is that's how they would take it. Like if you just look at the business side and said, nah, I wouldn't financially support itself. Are you trying to say women aren't funny? Is that what you're saying? Patriarchy? What are you saying? Go ahead, Kimbro, the misogynist. Explain yourself.
It's that's just the business culture of stand up comedy is a male magnetic market. You got to go where the magnetic. You got to go where the magnet is, where the draw, where the appeal, where the where the pull is. Female comics cannot pull magnetically comedic entertainment like a male comic can, and a lot of it is because comedy is tragic, and most people don't want to see females in a tragic situation, whereas they're okay with seeing men in a tragic situation. So you're uncomfortable with females in a tragic situation, and comedy addresses tragedy in one's life. And not every female, if a female comedian breaks out and finds the warm and fuzzy female essence of life, only one or two females can do that, and they'll lock that down. The rest is going to have to do something else, which is going to be tragic. It's going to be, something that is makes you feel uncomfortable. You know, to listen to a woman go into some of those issues, and that's just the way it is. It's not a misogynist thing. It's not a male thing. It's just even women feel uncomfortable listening to women go through tragedy. If you go online and you look at female entrepreneurs, the ones who are super successful, you know what they're successful in? Affirmation, uh, um, body positivity, um, vanity, makeup, fashion, all the things to show a woman in a positive light, to show a woman sexy, to show a woman who has confidence. You have all these motivational websites that make millions of dollars that are uh, marketing to hundreds of millions of women, and it's all positive, motivational, aspirational, fashion, beauty, hair, fitness tips, and women flock to that and spend billions of dollars on that stuff. You don't see too many men supporting that. It's all women. So when you have a thing like comedy where the female is shown in the juxtaposition of the opposite of that, then that's an uncomfortable thing. Most men want to see women at their best, even though they understand they go through a lot of tragedy and a lot of drama, and a lot of guys want to, be the hero and they want to be the fixer of their lives. I get that, but that's still not a marketable thing for a product. So when you are a female doing comedy, all of the marketplace, all of the strategies, all of the cultures, all of the female feel good affirmation type marketable industries are working against you. And there's this subconscious and even conscious awareness of, I don't really want to listen to a woman suffering. I don't want to really listen to a woman's tragedy. So I think that is one of the main reasons why an all female comedy club would not be supported by the marketplace, because there's a subconscious and conscious um, awareness of women's suffering to me for women and men. So, I mean, that's my opinion. Do I have any stats to back that up? Do I have any figures or any focus groups? No, but being a professional comedian of 30 years and watching my audiences and see how they respond to males' tragedy on stage and females' tragedy on stage, I think I come from my own surmise in a very credible way.
No, like, but you're so the bottom line of what you're saying is what I'm driving home, but on a larger scale.
And
The
I'm going to get a
market,
lot of flack from that too. But women need to understand I'm on your side. And just because I point out the reality of a situation doesn't mean that there aren't funny women and that people don't enjoy comedy from women, even if it's from a tragic place. I'm just saying, as a whole, in our culture as it stands right now, it's very very hard. I mean, someone like me, all right. My mom raised me. My dad was not around after I was a year old. And my mom suffered tragically with every single oppressive thing that could hold um, a black woman down in the 50s and 60s. And she ended up dying when I was 13. So she lived to be like, 33 years old, 32. I forget the age she died, but very, very young. So, like, that's hard to get over. You never get over that. So, to grow up experiencing your mom suffering the way she did, it makes it hard for me to watch women try to be funny over things that they suffer from. So that, a lot of it, I recognize the humor and I recognize the structure and the technique of being funny and why it's funny and how it's funny, but it just may not be funny to me because of my own personal references. And I'm just one guy who has that, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have 1,000 other reasons why they don't want to see or hear about women suffering or women's uh, tragedy as comedy. Um, so, but is it something that we need? Is it something that you can heal from? You always can heal from any type of comedy, and you can always, use the levity of tragedy to process and get over that. I get that, but from a business point of view, from a marketplace of, if you had 10 people that would want to open a comedy club and take the business approach to it, all 10 of them are going to go with the male comic business plan. So,
but that's where I'm coming from, a place of reality. Like, I want women to do well and I want women to prosper, but they need to be realistic first. Like, you can't have someone being rational and the other person delusional and then come to an understanding. That never happens.
mm,
So, like, if you, like, even when you keep the argument on economics, like, hey, nobody's coming to see you. Hey, nobody's coming to support this. Hey, you're not selling jerseys. Hey, you're not selling tickets. Hey, your movie is ass. People aren't watching this. So, like, even if you break down how the female comedians run, you have ones that are, they do the woke comedy, and that, to me, comedy is subjective, but also look at the reviews and look at how much money they bring in. Woke comedy is not
I lost you. Ty, I lost you. Your signal is
I mean, it's a bit rugged over here, and these
frozen.
Huh?
You're frozen. Okay, there you are. Now you're back.
Am I?
Yes,
Yeah.
you
So
froze. We missed that last 3 minutes or 2 minutes or a minute.
it's a lot. No. So I was saying like woke comedy is not doing well. It's not selling. Nobody's watching it. Then you have the comedians, female comedians who just sex joke, sex joke, sex joke. I'm the butt of the sex joke. Someone came in my face is the punchline for like an hour. And then, the I'm going to copy Sarah Silverman playbook, those women. And then you have the women like, I'm going to dress down. I'm going to dress like a man. I'm going to stalk the stage like a dude. I'm going to talk nasty and filthy like a dude, and just that. Then you have the Amy Schumers who steals everybody's jokes, then tries to go out and blame her writers for whatever. So, like, when you go down the line of like what's going on, it's not that there's not talented comedians. Part of it is the handout of laughs. Like if you watch a woke comedian perform, they don't get laughs. They get, oh, you just pandered to me. I'm supposed to give you a chuckle now. Here's your chuckle type of deal, right? Because it's that type of deal. Like if you watch Lily Singh, she'll tell you, you know how she's bisexual and Indian and a person of color? No, she'll tell you every 35 seconds. And it's like the punchline of everything and inside every joke. That gets old and it's not creative and it's ridiculous. So then you put these people on the pedestal, but then they're supposed to represent all of the females. Just like Megan Rapinoe is supposed to be the face of women's soccer. And then her complaining about the pay and we should get more money. But when she gave her speech, the first thing she said, hey, so I want to start off and say, I'm a proud member of the LGBTQI community. And with that being said, I'm like, yo, what does that got to do with you playing soccer? You understand? So they virtue signal and then they go like that to, because it's not anything factual. And then when you start talking money, it's like, oh, you make more than the men per average. Like you guys get paid year round. You don't generate a quarter of what the men do, but you still make more than the men do. And she's still complaining that she wants to make as much as men. So it's a lot of that false narrative stuff. So you can't have a conversation with them on a rational level, right? So then I gave you the examples of the WNBA, NBA. Then I told you about college sports with women during March Madness and the weight rooms and Title IX and these things. So what I'm saying is you and I agree on a fundamental level, just like you said, an all-female comedy club would not sustain itself. The whys don't matter. It just matters that we both know it wouldn't sustain itself. You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, how do they fix it? How do they work through these situations and not blame men for their shortcomings? That's what I want to get to.
Well, you have funny men on there. You can have a female owned and a female comedy club. You just need to have some men on there if you want it to be successful. That's all.
That's true, but that's still like in California terms, that's a part of the patriarchy, man. We don't want that, man.
Yeah, well.
So that's what I started off with in the beginning, where they say, hey, this world would be better without men. Really? Our men aren't as useful in the West as they're propped up to be. So it's like, I don't think that's a rational statement. That's what I was getting. That's what I was getting to. Like, I've heard these conversations from multiple sources, multiple outlets. Like I said, The Real, The Talk, all these shows that I just have to watch for research to check the temperature of the room. And this is the narrative that's going around right now.
Right.
That men are useless. So this is why, like, I come with like, this position, because that viewpoint does not help anybody, because now you have men rebelling and getting out of the dating carousel where they're like, you know what, fuck you, I'm not paying for any more of these food excursions until the roles are switched. And now women are starting to pay for meals and do all these other things, and they hate it. They're pissed. Like feminism only works when it's something they want. That's when it works. When it's something they want, that's when they're feminist. But now they're talking about drafting women, forcing women to be drafted. Look at the backlash. No, that's not right. That's not fair. Women, and they got in the army, just got rid of their physical fitness tests because all the women failed. So equality, that's where we're at.
Well, I'm glad I asked you how your day was going because that's a lot.
Oh yeah. See, this is what happens when I get to read stuff and like listen. This is why I got headaches and shit.
All right, because you're woke. You got the woke headache versus just being woke. Woke people give you a woke headache.
Man, these woke people need to go to sleep, bro.
They've been up too long. They need to take your ass to bed. You got school in the morning.
Dude, I feel old every day because I'm starting to sound like my dad. I'm like, will these kids just go to work and make shit happen?
Oh man. Well, we've been on chopping it up for a while. I want you back on later in the festival. I kind of had planned on talking more film industry stuff with you, but I like going down these provocative, very debate strong issues with you. I like to call them the Tom and Jane debates because it's happening right now, and people are really tripling down on their soapbox speech without giving it too much thought as to number one, what the problem actually is and how to resolve it, and take a look at your own rhetoric. It's like my grandfather used to always tell me, it's like, when you have an idea, you might want to say it out loud to yourself to see if it sounds ridiculous before you like say it to other people. And and it works. It actually works because when there's something about hearing it back in your own ears and thinking what you sound like and what you think and how you think it will go over, and you just go, oh man, that sounds way stupider than I actually was thinking. It's like I'm glad I verbalized that before I spoke to someone about it. I think more people
Yeah.
need to do that, and I think in this conversation, not that men don't, but women need to think about that too, because they're really quick to triple down on the soapbox with the megaphone and say something, and you go, what? Like, did you just hear what you just said? Like, did you run that by anybody? Did you guys have a little meeting and kick it back and forth before you brought it to us? Because from that sounded really ridiculous. And, so I think, we need to have inner monologue, but, try to verbalize it before you share it.
Dude. Yeah, like sometimes you could tell that's the first time they said it out loud
You totally can.
because yeah.
You
I'm just
totally
like,
could. Because it's like, all right, wait. You just talked out of both sides of your head, and neither one of them made sense, and they were completely and totally contradicting. It's like you need to go back to the drawing board and flush that out, because that was like some ass right there that just came out of your mouth.
yeah, and welcome to my world because I'm digesting all this information and I hear it and I'm just like, what the who? Why would you say that out loud? Like, and the thing is, I just get so like worked up. I'm like, man, come on, you don't mean that. Take it back. You don't mean it. You really didn't mean that. And then they quadruple down and like umpteen
Yeah.
down, and it's just like this isn't
Well, that's the
like
pride and ego that gets in the way, and it makes you want to triple down, and because you want to act like, okay, yeah, and it's, maybe I didn't say it right or whatever, but the next time we get together, I think I have you scheduled again in the next day or so. I want to talk more about film industry stuff and strategies, and you've got some really good ideas on how to get things done on a production level, pre-production, production, posts, and even on the concept of ideas and organizing and formulating your ideas into film production. And I want to go down those rabbit holes more since we are a film festival, and so I have to look at the schedule and see when I have you, because I don't have it in front of me and I don't know it off the top of my head. But I don't know if I sent you an email about when I have you again, because I think I had you a couple times. Do you know when you're on next?
No, I was thinking it was Monday. Monday at
Yeah, I'm thinking
like
it's Monday too. Yeah,
like
I
two
think it's
thirty or
I think
something.
it's real talk on Monday, so I think we're talking movies anyway, or industry anyway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be movies, cinema, film
Yeah,
structure, all that
yeah,
stuff.
something like that. So I'm looking forward to that show. That should be really informative. So on the way out, Herb, any final notes?
Oh, not too much, except one time I heard from I don't remember who it was, but they interviewed some old time basketball player about how to make the you, you know
You got
you
one
know
minute, Herb.
okay,
It's gonna
how
cut
to
off.
make the WNBA and the NBA a little more similar. And what he said was, in the NBA, move the hoop up to 11 feet 6, and that would make them both very much alike. And I don't remember who it
Well, how
was.
about lowering the rim a foot for the women?
That'd be another idea. It would let them dunk, and but the old guy said he would like to make the game the way it was in the old days when nobody dunked.
Because it was all white guys with no athleticism.
Yeah,
That's why Pistol Pete Maravich looked like the second coming of Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, anyways, the incidentally, this guy, it was nobody I'd ever heard of, but he was black,
yeah, that's
and
right.
he was just saying how to make it fair.
Well, my final thoughts is, everybody just needs to calm the fuck down and let the pendulum swing back toward the middle.
Yeah.
Ty, what's your final thoughts? You got 60 seconds.
Okay, my final thoughts is like, look, I want women to succeed. I want them to do well. Like, I believe in the real first wave of feminism. This horse shit they're passing off now, I don't believe in it. But women are smart, they're capable, they're funny sometimes, and they have a skill set that they can monetize. They need to take advantage of it. But we need to be realistic, and men aren't the cause of all your problems. You know what I mean? So, like, learn to work better in your surroundings and don't look at men as an enemy and get off this woke train. Let's get some stuff going, but you need to take a nap first.
All right, on that note, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Pod Brother Nation. This is podbrother.com. You're listening to the International Day of Comedy Film Festival podcast series happening during the month of April. Thanks, guys, and we will see you around the corner. Peace out.